Alright guys, welcome to Rivera Urban Homestead. Don't have too much to report in the garden per se. Couple of nice poblanos coming up though. Not too bad. My red Marconis, I am getting, just a couple. Nothing too crazy, but plants are starting to look pretty good. Settling in. Jimmy Nardellos. Starting to get a couple of those. As you can see. Now my purple jalapeno plant though. Look at this. This guy is loaded up with jalapenos. They're everywhere. So that looks cool. I did the square foot garden method in here for my lettuces. And I tell you what, it's November 9th and it's still in the upper 80s, 90s and hot. So this is not looking too hot. I did get some radishes earlier. As you can see, I never planted radishes before, but they are very peppery. And I think it's because of the heat, because they're supposed to be kind of mild. What I just did is I went to my compost pile and I brought 2 5-gallon buckets, and I just laid it on top of this bed. I'm gonna plant some Landreth stringless bush beans today. Right into the compost pile. I'm not even gonna mix it into the pre-existing dirt. And I had a little bit of worm castings left. So I'm gonna plant those and we'll see what happens. Okay, so I had a roll of this wire which is invaluable in the garden. So what I did is just kind of cut out pieces and laid it in on top of my compost pile where I'm going to plant my bush beans, because I have cats and they like to use any bare soil as their, personal bathroom. So this will keep the cats out. And then what I'll do is I will plant the Landreth stringless bush beans every 6 inches. Probably in that center row, right down the row. So we'll have a nice clean look and we'll be able to identify what's coming up. Another point I want to make on my square foot gardening project. I have so many different squares with so many different things growing that I am not organized enough to have everything, even know what everything is. So as I'm weeding, obviously that's lettuce. I mean, I could tell that. That's lettuce over there, we're starting to get. But some of this other stuff, I don't know if I'm picking out plants or weeds or what. So the problem I have personally with this is that I just have too big of a bed and way too many squares with too much stuff. So I'm gonna let it roll for a while and see what happens, but this square foot garden method is just a little confusing. Maybe if I had like a 4x4 bed and you just had, a couple of squares. I just have too many squares and I don't know. It's a little chaotic. But I'm really anxious to plant in this above ground method where I just lay the pile of compost on top and plant directly into it. I want to see how my beans come out there. I think that'll be cool. And that might be a way that I continue to garden. My lawnmower has a mind of its own. I think it cost me almost $400. Nice John Deere. Self-propelled. All you have to do is roll the handle. Oh, it's locked. Unlock it. And that's the gas pedal. It just pushes like that. So easy to do. I just went bull riding this weekend, so my wrist is really hurting. But when this thing runs, it's beautiful. It's so easy to push. But it hasn't started in a month. Out of the blue this morning, I said, well, let me try it just before I go use my neighbors like I always do. And it started right up, so. And there's something about a freshly mowed yard that just, I love it. I love the way it smells. I like making my lines in different ways. This time I went long ways leading up to the garden. But just And grass is wonderful for your garden, man. I love when I get to mow. Because what happens is, all that work sorry, my air conditioner is on. That looks cool through the camera. It's spinning way faster than that. But anyway, all that work leads to this. Beautiful pile of compost, soon to be compost. That'll start composting down. And then, of course, turning into this. It is an amazing thing. You got to use it, put it in your garden. That's what my bush beans are going to be sown in today. That used to be grass in the yard, and now it is a beautiful mound of rich compost. I love mowing the yard. It looks beautiful, and it helps feed my garden. Just figured I'd show you. Back to work. Alright, so here are the beans I just planted. Landreth stringless bush. Look at how awesome they look. Just a beautiful, like, brown coffee look. They're supposed to produce really well. I planted 14 beans. I guarantee you I'm going to get more than 14 beans back. That's what's so amazing about gardening, man. One little seed packet. I still got probably 30, 40 more in here. And this thing could probably feed me for a couple of years, man. Minimum 40 seeds for $2.50. Out of those 14 seeds, I'll show you just how many I get. Ray Browning from Praxis, I don't remember the numbers, but Praxis on YouTube. I watch all his videos. That guy's awesome. Great person. He recommended these in his videos a lot, so Ray, I'm trying them out, buddy. I will let you know how they taste. See if I agree with your taste buds. Bye. Okay guys, so I just started taking this project to a different level. This raised area here that I have the fencing on is, like I said, it's just all compost from my compost pile. And I planted the Landreth stringless, the bush beans, which is this one. So it's a bush bean variety, so I did 6 inches apart. So then I was like, man, I still have more compost. So what I did on the other end is I did another just full mound of compost. I didn't stir it in or nothing. And did it all the way across again. And in this one, I am going to plant a different bush variety. It is the Bean Blue Lake bush. So when I was weeding it, clearing it all out, what I did was I just put all the weeds in the center and just piled them up. So now my thought is I'll grow the bush beans on either side. That centerpiece will pretty much compost. By the time it's ready to be planted with something, it'll have its own compost that it made. And it's like its own little ecosystem. In here I had another pile of compost. Just laid it all in, and I just planted the snap peas. Sugar snap peas. So I'm going to put a trellis up on this whiskey barrel. We'll have peas there. Landreth stringless bush beans over there. And then the other variety, like I said, is the Bean Blue Lake bush. So hopefully we get a bunch of beans coming on here pretty soon. We will keep you updated.